Today's guest is Franco Papalia, a financial advisor with some sound advice on the importance of planning for the unexpected life events. Welcome, Franco.
Thank you, Sybil.
You help clients plan for life's unexpected events. How did you get into the financial industry?
Well, I grew up in Vancouver, in the city of Vancouver, and at the age of 19, I managed to get a job at the Vancouver Stock Exchange.
Like buy, sell, that kind of stuff?
I started as a floor trader. It was quite exciting. For a 19-year-old kid, it was just something else. Fabulous way to start your career. I've been in the financial services industry ever since for the past 40 years.
Oh, wow. So you graduated from the trading floor into financial advising, a
Yes.
more grown-up thing to do. Less stressful, I bet. I don't know how those guys do it on the floor.
It's actually a lot of fun.
I'd like to know a little bit about one of the clients that you work with. I understand you have a case study to share with us today. Tell us about that.
Yes. I was introduced to a family about 20 years ago. Regular family with 3 young children. The wife, we'll call her Susan.
Yep.
Susan worked as a government worker with a great government pension. The husband was a 50-50 business owner with his partner, and he worked in the business full time.
So happy family, all is great.
Yes.
What were they looking for?
Well, as their financial advisors, we started out by putting a financial plan in place, and the purpose of the plan was to identify issues that they needed to deal with. 3 of the main issues that popped up, one was just a glaring issue. There was no will in place.
Yikes.
Number 2, there was no buy-sell agreement in place for the business.
Double yikes.
Yeah, so if anything happened to anyone in the business, there was no rationale for how to exit the business. And number 3, for a young family and business owners, there was no insurance at all, no life insurance at all in place.
Which is all fine as long as things go along without any problem. What happened?
Well, before we could put all the remedies in place for those, the husband had a massive heart attack and died.
Oh no.
Yeah, they left Susan and the 3 boys to deal with not only the financial but the emotional aspects of what had just happened.
And were they young boys, like young kids at home?
Yes, 2 were under the age of 19, and 1 was 19.
Oh my gosh. So here Susan is dealing with the loss of her spouse, having to take care of the 3 kids, loss of income, who took over the business, like so many questions just spinning around. What was her frame of mind at that point?
Well, her big question was, what do I do now? And so the first thing she did was she took a leave of absence from work to deal with the grief and the reality of things. The next thing that she did was try to deal with the financial aspect of things, and it was a big mess because of the lack of the agreements. She was out of her element. Her husband was the lead in the financial affairs, and so she was struggling with dealing with some of the things that had popped up from.
So it sounds like she was feeling, as one can imagine, very lost, didn't know where to turn, and all of a sudden all these responsibilities have fallen on her. So to catch her breath, she took a bit of time off, but of course that would put her in an even worse financial position. But you got to do what you got to do when life throws you curveballs. So what was her big question for you at that time?
Well, it was, what do I do next?
Well, don't go away. Find out the most important step to plan for the unexpected after the break.
The Wealthy Life is brought to you by investment dealer Raymond James. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Welcome back. We're here with Franco Papalia, a financial advisor sharing a client's story and why it's important to plan for life's events. Franco, before the break, we were talking about Susan, who lost her husband. He passed away, no will, no buy-sell agreement, 3 kids. Susan wanted to know what to do next. I have to ask you, where did the money go? He had no will, so what happened?
Well, we were able to put some insurance in place before he passed away with the two partners, the two business partners. So that was very fortuitous.
Yes.
What happened with the business? There was no buy-sell agreement in place. So, what happens in a situation like that is the insurance proceeds get paid into the corporate treasury,
Yep.
and they're on the balance sheet. And at that point, the two partners own 50-50. So, if there was a buy-sell agreement in place, it would have been a different story. 100% of the proceeds would have gone to Susan. In this case, it was a little more complicated. It took a lot longer for Susan to get paid out, and she didn't get the full amount of the insurance proceeds.
So it was very costly for her family to not have been prepared for that event.
Yes, yeah.
Now, not having a will in place, did she then get all of her husband's assets go to her to take care of the kids?
So in British Columbia, the laws are pretty strict on people that don't have wills. So the way it worked in Susan's case, and there's different variations depending on if there's multiple marriages and so on, but in Susan's case, she got the first $300,000 of the estate.
Yep.
Fortunately, the home was in her name. That was for creditor protection because of the
Good.
business, and so the home went to her. But if it had been registered any other way, she would have had to buy it back from the estate.
So she did get some things, but maybe not as much as she could, and it was costly also to sort that out because you'd have to apply to the courts. So Susan's big question for you was, what do I do next? How did you answer that?
Well, one of the things that also happened with the will is the kids, the three children, got half the estate, and two of them were underage, and so the public trustee ended up controlling those funds. One of the kids was 19 years of age, and he ended up just getting that money outright.
Wow.
And so it created a little bit of stress in the family. The first thing we did was we had a family sit down where I came in and sat down with Susan and the boys. Ended up that the boys, when the boys did turn 19 and the funds were given to them, they realized that Dad's wishes would have been that Mom gets the money. So they did turn the money over to Mom.
Right.
The insurance proceeds, we created another financial plan,
Good.
A new financial plan.
Because that's what Susan was asking for. It's what she needed to move forward is, I know what I've got now, and I need a plan to move forward with my life.
Yeah. So that was a great way to lead her and the family in the new direction.
And I take it she got a will.
She's definitely got a will. Yeah.
And so when something happens to her, her family will be taken care of because she's not going to put them through what she went through. What's your one big piece of advice for investors today and viewers today?
It's pretty simple. Have a plan and execute on it.
Execution is key. Well, Franco, thank you for sharing that story. And stay tuned. Up next, find out why everyone should have a tax-free savings account.